ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Krishna Priya, unmute.
Krishna Priya, unmute.
Krishna Priya, you are on mute.
Unmute.
Sorry. Om Shri Sai Ram. It's my pleasure to introduce Sathya Iyer, counselor, motivational speaker, and educationist. She is an alumna of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning and has been in the teaching profession since the last 2 decades. Sathya Iyer is now a counselor providing one-to-one therapy for children with special needs. She is also the founder of Steps to Happiness, a space where she provides professional counseling. She has been conducting parenting workshops and motivational sessions in and around Thane district. Sathya Iyer is also a published poet, and her writings reflect her deep reverence for the Sai teachings. Has resurgence of human values is the need of the hour. She considers it a great blessing to be part of the Sai mission. So now I would request her to begin with her talk. But before that, I would just ask the children that we will have a question answer session at the end of the session. So if you have any questions, you may put it up in the chat box and we will take it at the end of the session. Om Shri Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Am I audible to all? Just show me a thumbs up. Yeah. Offering my most loving salutations at the divine lotus feet of Arya Bhagavan. Thanking Swami for the opportunity that he has given and sincere prayers to him to make every word that is spoken in this session to come straight from the heart of the speaker and reach the heart of the listener directly. Swami, please bless us. Just give me a second to screen share. So loving Sai Rams to all of you, all the participants who are present here, all the children who are present here. So dear children, we are here to meet and discuss something that we keep on hearing every day, okay, from somebody or the other. Today, even a senior KG kid uses this word very, very often, okay. I hear even very small children saying, I am stressed out, ma'am. I am stressed out. Stress. What is this? And is it actually so negative as we think about it is what we are going to talk about, dear children, today. Let's begin with some words of Swami's words. If we look into it, Swami says, the secret of perfect health lies in keeping the mind always cheerful, never worried, never hurried, never borne down by any fear, thought, or anxiety. Let me reread these lines, children. The secret of perfect health lies in keeping the mind always cheerful. Now here let us put a question to ourselves. Are we always cheerful? बहुत cheerful हैं तो आज ये session attend ही नहीं करेंगे ना? No? So are we always cheerful? Let us think about it. Never worried. Okay? Can we say that we are never worried? Does it happen that way? No? Never hurried. Okay? Today's world is full of hurry. Okay, there is hurry in waking up, hurry in getting ready, hurrying in going to college or school, hurrying to even go to bed, right? Never borne down by any fear. Are we fearless? हर चीज में डर लगता है ना? Today everything we are scared about many things, and it has come to a stage where most of us are scared about everything that comes. Okay, COVID तो गया, but the fear always remains. Arey, it is still there in some places. It is still there. What if I still get it? Right? Thought or anxiety. So there are many thoughts. There are many anxious thoughts that go on in our mind. If all of this has to take place, if all of this has to exist in our mind, are we healthy? Swami says no. Right? Now, let us further go on to the session. Before we continue, may I ask you to just keep your videos on for a minute? Can I just see you on screen, all of you? Yeah. Can you put on your videos, children, for this? There's a small game. There's nothing that we are going to do individually. Okay. So it's just a small game. If you can put your videos on and play this game with me, I'll be able to see you. Yeah. Can you put your videos on?
Requesting all children to put their videos on.
Yeah. Thank you. Very simple game, children. Okay. By the time our friends put their videos on, I'll explain the rule of the game. Right. Now I have a duffly with me. When I give a one beat, okay, you show me your right hand. Okay, very simple. One beat, your right hand. When I give you a two beat, you show me your left hand. Right? When I give you a three beat, you can do a namaste or a sairam. Okay, children, very simple. One beat, right hand. Two beat, left hand. Three beat, a namaste. Okay, nothing complicated, no? Very easy. Pre-primary children also can do it, isn't it? Yeah, come on. Ariva, very good, no? Superb, superb. Little bit confusion is there. Children, if we understand this activity, okay. Now, when I said one, right hand, two, left hand, and three, it was a namaste. Okay. The first round was very, very easy. अरे इसमें क्या है? Pre-primary के बच्चे भी कर सकते हैं. Right hand, left hand, namaste. Very easily it went. Yeah. But when I changed the count in the second round, when I said 3, 2, and 1, there was a little bit of stress, isn't it? Little bit. अरे 3 के लिए क्या करना है? Left hand है कि right hand है? And then when I gave all the counts together, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, some of us stopped doing it. Yes. Now this is how stress works in our lives, dear children. When we have things to do one after the other, ये करना है, इसके बाद ये करना है, इसके बाद third चीज जो है वो करना है, becomes very easy. There's no stress. But when the order is changed, right? When you have to do something and then you remember, no, I have not done the previous one, you go back to that, and then you go to the first one, then there is a little bit of stress that builds in. And now when we have many things to do, इतने सारे project complete करना है और सबका एक ही due date है, okay? When all these things, when things happen all together and all muddled up, then there is a lot of stress that keeps on building in our lives, right? Now, before we proceed, now we have understood how this stress happens, isn't it? Now, before we proceed, now all of you are very, very, you're very comfortable with the chat box, isn't it, children? Now you use the chat box and just type answer to the question that I am asking you, right? Okay. What according to you is stress? Any word that comes to your mind, okay? The word that comes to your mind first, when I say stress, what is it that comes to your mind? Just type it. Submissions, okay? Yeah, pressure, that's nice. Nervousness, okay? मुझे भी nervousness होता है. It's not that the person who's sitting on the other side of the screen is very perfect or and can manage stress very well. No. Anxiety, yeah, good. Difficulties, right? And what happens during stress? Now we are very stressful. What happens during that time? What do we normally do? Just type in as the thought comes to your mind. Migraine, somebody says, oh, lovely. Yeah, right. Okay, that's so beautiful. Mental troubles, yes, that's nice. What happens during that? Are we very comfortable getting worried? Already worry hai, iske liye stress hai. Abhi stress aur बढ़ गया तो worry भी बढ़ गया है. We get disturbed. Yes, that is true. Fear. Yes, right. Children, just speak from your heart. The word that comes to your mind, okay? Just put it on the chat box. What do you actually feel when you are stressed? Scared? Yes, that's nice. That's a very, very common feeling that happens, becomes impatient, restlessness. We are not at peace, okay? Fear. Fear is predominant in times of stress, okay? Making mistakes in the work. Lovely. That's a very beautiful answer. जो काम अगर हम स्ट्रेस में हैं, जो काम हम अच्छा से कर सकते हैं, उसमें भी कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाती है ना. Afterwards, when we look at it, we feel, "Arey, my God, I know this so well, but why did I make mistakes?" Especially during examinations. Okay, stress ज़्यादा बढ़ती है, तो afterwards, after the examination, you say, "Arey, I made such a silly mistake. Why did I make this mistake?" Because that was a period of stress which could not be handled, right? Okay. Thank you for your answers, children. Now, very what stress is, okay? What happens during the period of stress? Let me screen share the again. Right. Now, as we move on, now I'm not putting any definition from the internet, okay? Because the definition, as we think, has to come right from our heart, because this is something that we are all experiencing day in and day out, isn't it, dear children? Now, speaking about stress, very often we say, "Arey, stress hota hai." Now, if we think deeply into this concept, do all stress, every stress, is it negative? Just pose this question to yourself. Okay. Now it is found, Okay, that all kinds of stress is not always negative. There are two kinds of stresses, eustress and distress. Now, dear children, eustress is the positive stress that we all experience, okay, that promotes the enhancement of our performance. And distress is something that weakens our performance and puts us into a stress, into a state of anxiety, right? Now, this eustress, though it has the name stress along with it, it is a positive force that helps us. Now, for example, we need to travel. ओके अभी ट्रैवलिंग एकदम स्ट्रेस फ्री है क्या हम सब के लिए नहीं है but there is some joy in traveling. We have to pack our bags, we have to reach the destination, we have to take the mode of transport to reach the destination, proper clothes we should have, the food that we are eating in those places should suit us. Yeah, we should stay comfortably in the place where we are going to. This kind of stress is called as eustress. Okay, now when we get into a new job, you go into a new college, there is excitement along with stress. There is some kind of positive excitement, and that is called as eustress. Now this is positive stress that all of us experience in our lives. So stress is not always negative, dear children. Stress is positive also. There is positive stress also. The second type is distress. अरे मेरे साथ ही ये होता है, हमेशा ये मेरे साथ ही होता है. Only I make mistakes in the examination. Why do I forget things when I study for the examination? Why do I forget? Why am I not able to keep my things properly? Why is my mother scolding me all the time? Okay, this kind of stress is a negative stress, and this is called as distress. Okay, children. So there are two kinds of stresses that happen to us. Stress is not always negative. There is positive stress and there is negative stress. The positive stress is eustress, which we often forget. Okay, very often when we say stress, we only say it is tension, it is anxiety. But this beautiful aspect of eustress is something that we miss out in our day-to-day lives. Okay, now here, when stress happens to us, right? This is a very beautiful story that I read a few days before. A professor, he was talking to a class of students, okay? And can you see the glass of water that I am holding? Yeah, he held up a glass of water, okay? And he asked his students, what would be the weight of this, okay? So children gave different, they quoted different weights of the water that is present in the glass. Then the professor asked them, now, what will happen if I am holding this for 5 minutes? Okay, 5 minutes में क्या होता है? कुछ नहीं होता है, right? What if I hold it for half an hour? Okay, then, children started thinking, yeah, half an hour may maybe the hand may start paining a little more. What if I hold it for say 2-3 hours? Okay, hand can become numb. What if I hold it for the whole day? Probably we have to call an ambulance and take the professor to the hospital. Okay, now my dear children, how this is connected to what we are speaking about today? Now stress, it is always present, but the time that we are holding it in our mind makes a lot of difference. Okay, now we cannot say we can be stress free in today's world of competition, world where there are challenges. Everywhere there are challenges, isn't it? We cannot say that we can remain stress free. How to get out of stress, we cannot say that. But how long are we carrying the stress in our mind? Are we keeping on holding it or thinking about it in our mind again and again and again and again? When we are holding it for a long period of time, my dear children, that is when it becomes harmful for your body as well as your mind, right? I should say harmful for our body and our mind. So this is how stress is always present, but how long we are carrying it makes all the difference. So next time we have a stressful situation, Let us see, all challenges and problems that come to us is like a lock and key. When there is a problem, there is always a solution to it. When a lock is made, there is always a key that is made. Right? Now, if we are able to find the correct key, correct solution to a problem, that is because we have not found the right key to the lock, isn't it? So when we are able to do that, now these problem solving methods, communication, these are all separate workshop topics, right? When we get into ways of how we can deal with problems in our lives, that is when we are able to hold that stress for less number of time in our body, okay, and in our minds. And that is when we become healthy, right? Now, what causes this stress? Now, when I say what causes stress, children will say, ma'am, everything causes stress. The weather is causing stress. Okay, the food that we eat is causing stress. The kind of food we are not getting, that is also causing stress. The projects are causing stress. My parents holding me causing stress. I have to meet deadlines, that is causing stress. What is not causing stress? Okay, children may say. But when we think about what predominantly causes stress, okay, very beautifully, when I said what is stress and what happens during stress, these were the two words that were very beautifully used by you, right? Fear and anger. Now, these are the two culprits of distress. Okay, now I will not just use the word stress, because we have understood that stress is not always negative. Okay, stress is positive also. So let us first deal with something that we have to eliminate in our lives, that is distress, right? So the two culprits here, fear and anger. Now, these are like big rakshasas that are, building and building in our lives, children, today. Now, there is a very beautiful story of how Krishna and Balarama, they went into the forest one day, okay? And there was a Rakshasa who came in front of them. Now, as soon as Balarama saw the Rakshasa, he was very scared. Baapre, itna dar gaya. Or he got so scared that the Rakshasa became bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. And he became bigger. Balarama was very scared. He fainted. Krishna just took out his flute, okay, and he played his flute. Now, as Krishna played the flute, the Rakshasa became smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and diminished. Now, dear children, fear is like this. The more we fear, the bigger the fear becomes. Okay, मैट से मुझे बहुत डर लगता है. जितना हम मैट से डरते हैं, उतना ही वो डर बड़ा ही होगा. But when we are able to deal with that kind of something that is causing that fear, it is irrational, right? Now, when we are dealing with it, now how to deal with it? There are several methods, right? The very fact that we are all together in a Balvika's group 4 session is the answer. You have the gurus. You have gone through all the 3 groups, first group, second group, third group. Each and every group has taught us all how to deal with this Rakshasa of fear in us, right? So fear, very easily, it can be removed from our lives. The second Rakshasa is anger. Now, my dear children, today's world, we burst out every time, isn't it? Mummy calls, we get angry. When somebody says something, we get angry. If laptop is not working, we get angry. If some phone is not charged, we get angry. If somebody is not replying to our messages, we get angry. Now, this anger is like acid. Yeah. It causes harm to anything that it falls on. But more harm it causes to the container in which it is in. So we are holding anger. The more destruction happens to the container, to us, when we are holding it. See, it is not very easy in today's world to say, get rid of anger. Now, one session is not just going to help us to get rid of this Rakshasa. But definitely it can be, this session can be a first step to eradicate these two Rakshasas in our life, fear and anger. Think about it, dear children. Think about how we can deal with these two in our own lives. Different children, each one of us can have fear of various types, right? Everybody's fear is not same as the others. Take help whenever there is fear, whenever there is anger. Take help from a reliable source, from your parents, from your gurus, from your teachers, elders and experienced people. They will definitely help all of us to get rid of these two predominant Rakshasas in our life. The first step to bounce back and to deal with that stress, that distress, I will not just say stress, distress, is this beautiful character of resilience. Now, children, you may have heard this word, resilience, okay? Now, if you look at it, okay, if you search for the meaning of it, it would say to bounce back, right? Now, every day we are bouncing back from all the trials and tribulations of our lives, isn't it? Yeah, we are all bouncing back from all the adverse situations that we are facing. COVID, we bounced back, right? Different kind of ailments, we bounced back today, right? The capacity to bounce back from adverse situation. This is the beautiful quality of resilience. Now, it is a very contributing factor to manage stress, dear children. Everyday stress, distress can be eradicated just by building this quality of resilience. Now, why stress builds? Stress builds because we are fearing, my God, what if this happens? This untoward thing happens. But when we have this quality of resilience, it will help us to bounce back. Never mind. Never mind. Let me let go. Let me bounce back. Let me try again. Let me do it once again. Okay. Now, this is a very, very beautiful character, resilience. This is something that we need to build in our day-to-day lives. Now, there is a very beautiful quote of Jordi Picoult. Now, he says, the human capacity for burden is like bamboo. Now, children, you've seen bamboo, isn't it? It's very flexible than you would ever believe at first glance. Now, itna patla sa hai, but it's very flexible and it's very strong, right? Right? And the period it grows. Now, if you Google and you read about how the bamboo grows, you will find throughout its growth period, what it is doing, it is working on its internal energy, picking up nutrients, picking up all that it needs to become stronger, right? So in stressful situations, when we feel that, oh my God, I am done now, I cannot get up from this, pick up that internal energy. Yes, I have learned this from this situation. Let me take it in to make myself more stronger. Now, children, when we do this, this is how we are working at, like there is a very beautiful saying, be like a bamboo. Now, what is it to be like a bamboo? To develop that power of resilience in our lives. Okay. Now, when we are doing that, we fight the distress. Okay. And we welcome the eustress in our lives. One very beautiful thing while we are fighting, okay, we need to eliminate things of distraction. Now, today, the mobile phone, the screen, okay, all the devices that we are using, of course, it is very, very useful. Okay, it is of great use today. If now this has not happened, today I may not be able to sit and talk to this group of children today. Okay, we may not have been able to get this opportunity all the time, right? Now, though the benefits are more, there are still a lot of disadvantages. Now, dear children, if you think deeply at it, now I said this is a heart-to-heart session, okay? Now, there is nothing to fabricate. There is nothing to hide. It's just a transparent session. Just move into yourself, okay? And see how far we have become an addict to this small phone that we are all carrying, right? We have all got addicted to the usage of this phone, all of us, right? Now, what is happening now? Is it totally, it is making us, is it just helping us to de-stress in today's world? Or is it contributing to the distress in our lives? So this is a question you think about today before going to bed. Just think about the phone, the usage of phone in my own life. Is it contributing to my eustress or more towards my distress? Okay, just give a percentage to it. Definitely it causes more distress. The reason being, okay, in my own life, in my own phone usage, when there is a WhatsApp message that is unanswered, causes stress. When there is a Facebook post that is not read by anybody, that causes stress. Okay, so there is more kind of this more a lot of stress that builds in this usage. Okay, it is very useful. It is definitely useful in today's world, but how much and how are we using this device today, right? There is another fact that opens up with the usage of these devices. Today, if you look into our own lives, we are more concerned about what the others think about us. Okay, now in this age of Facebook, in this age of Instagram, our worry or our stress is more towards what the other people feel about us. What is the kind of image that I am creating in front of the other person? Okay, and very beautifully, the phone has contributed to this kind of distress. Now, dear children, we need this device, but do we need to get addicted to it? These two are two different things, two different questions. Usage versus addiction. Usage, yes. And each one's usage is different depending on the work, depending on our studies, it's different. But answer this question, do we need to get addicted to it? Now, each one of us have to draw a line where we find ourselves getting addicted to the phone. Now, this is an individual activity, okay? Try to demarcate between usage and addiction. Now, when we move from the column of usage to the column of addiction, that is when stress keeps on building in our lives. And dear children, that is when there is this beautiful ability of de-addiction that has to happen. Yeah. Now, how can we do that? There is a small tip here. Now, you can try it out with your families. Probably half an hour or 1 hour in a day. Let us practice fasting from the devices. Let us start. We fast from so many things, no? एक दिन खाना नहीं खाएंगे, एक दिन पानी नहीं पिएंगे, एक दिन ये नहीं करेंगे, एक दिन वो नहीं करेंगे. But start practicing this de-addiction from the device, okay? At least for an hour every day, when all the members of the family can switch on their devices, switch off their devices, keep it in a basket in the living room, okay? And if we can have in our families that digital de-addiction time on a daily basis, it contributes a lot towards removing the distress in our lives. So try it out, children. Now, as we are moving on to the other steps of stress management, having a comprehensive lifestyle. Now, this is something that is very, very important. Okay, we need our lifestyle has to be very, very comprehensive. Yeah. Now, what is comprehensive lifestyle? Something that has encompasses everything. Okay, myself, my family, my academics, and my spirituality. Now, when all of this, okay, has a proper percentage in our own lives, every day, when I can allot some kind of a job for myself, for my family, towards my academics, and towards my spiritual life. Now, this is very, very important. Now, when we can attend to all of these subunits in our life, that is when our lifestyle becomes comprehensive. Now, such a kind of a comprehensive lifestyle, when we are having in every day, when we are able to establish, we are moving towards a stress-free life. That is when we are able to manage our stress better. So a comprehensive lifestyle, children, you can just note down the 4. See how much we are contributing to your own development, to the family development, towards your academics and towards spirituality. Now for all of this, ma'am, सुनने के लिए तो अच्छा ही है, but time तो चाहिए हमें, right? Now time management, again, it is a separate workshop, right? One full workshop can be devoted to this topic alone. Just a simple activity, my dear children. Post the session, you can do it on a daily basis. Now all of us have 24 hours. Anybody has got less number of hours or more number of hours? No, isn't it? We have all got 24 hours. But in this 24 hours, okay, just note down how much time you are spending for your personal work, how many hours you are putting into your academics, how many hours are you putting into your entertainment. Just make note of the time that is spent for each and every activity. Now, when we do this in a workshop with participants, very often we see that, there are at least 2 to 3 hours. Many participants have 2 to 3 hours at least that is unaccounted for. In all our lives, we don't know, हम सब कुछ डालते हैं, entertainment भी डालते हैं, free time भी डालते हैं, mobile time भी डालते हैं, but still there is some time that is not accounted for. Now children, when we see that when we are aware of how we can manage our time very nicely, that is when we are moving one step towards stress management. Now this reminds me of a beautiful incident where Swami had a speaker for a group of MBA students, okay? And the meeting was supposed to begin at 9 o'clock and the speaker came at 9:02, right? And after the speaker spoke and all that, and then after that there was Swami's discourse. In Swami's discourse, Swami said, 80 minutes have been wasted. Okay, there were 40 children who attended the meeting, and Swami said 80 minutes have been wasted. Now people were wondering, how 80 minutes? Only 2 minutes were wasted. No, 9:02 the program started. But considering 2 minutes of every participant, 40 children, that 2 minutes, that particular child could have done something. Each and every 2 minutes of every person is different, right? One person can cook a 2-minute Maggie. One person can tie a shoelace. One person can arrange, there is 2-minute rule also in psychology, right? One person can arrange the things for the next job that has to be done. So every 2 minutes of every person is very, very important. Now, considering that, let us see whether we are managing our time properly, and that will take us towards better performance enhancement. Now, this stress management is like the ingredients and the pre-prep for any meal that has to be cooked, right? So if we have done a good pre-prep, then our meal is the outcome that we are going to see now. Now that is going to be beautiful. Yeah. So there can be bakers here, children who are baking cakes. There can be children who are already into the cooking process who will understand this better. Now, what are the different ways to enhance our performance? One tip that Swami gives is Trikarana Shuddhi. Now, children, you would have heard this word, Trikarana, that is thought, word, and deed. Now, when there is purity in thought, word, and deed, okay, that is fear, which is not having any fear, which is not having any anxiety, which is not having any malice, then that kind of thought, word, and deed is Trikarana Shuddhi. This is the primary requisite to enhance our performance. Okay. Thinking में गड़बड़ है तो performance enhance नहीं हो सकता है. Word में गड़बड़ है, performance नहीं हो सकता है. Deed में गड़बड़ है तो बिल्कुल performance enhance नहीं हो सकता है. Right? So Trikarana Shuddhi is the first tip. So let us check every thought. When a thought comes, is it something that is pure? Is it something that is right? Is it something that is not going to cause harm to others? Thought, word, and deed, right? The second is the power model. Okay, now this is a very beautiful model that you may have heard about earlier, you may have read about also. P, which stands for good planning. Okay, very often we are stressful because we have not planned things properly. Even to cook a meal, the meal has to be well planned. Yeah, so planning. O stands for organizing the material to complete the task. Okay, हम ऐसे ही जाके we cannot, we'll be searching for this thing and that thing. When we are able to organize and keep the materials which are needed for that particular task. W, which stands for weighing every option and selecting the best option. Now, to do a particular thing, there can be different options. Okay, there can be different ways by which we can do. Now we can, if we even a YouTube video to make a dish. Okay, if you want to say bake a cake, there will be different ways of baking a cake. But when we can hit upon the correct way and the way that is suitable for us to do it, that is when we are working towards better performance. E, as we have planned, as we have understood that this particular way is going to work for us, when we are able to execute our task and not just leave with that, R, which stands for reflecting on the work that is done. And then we run away. Instead of doing that, when we are able to reflect and see how we have done the task, reviewing the task, dear children, it eliminates stress to a great extent and enhances performance. Some more tips to enhance performance: take correction positively. Now, when correction is given to us, it is very difficult, no, to take. Okay, अच्छा बोलते हैं तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है, but कोई बुरा बोलते हैं तो it's very difficult. What you're doing is wrong. When somebody says, that becomes very difficult to take it. Yeah, but here we need to, consider, there is a very beautiful analogy of the giraffe. Yeah, children, the giraffe is a very tall animal and it gives birth to its baby while standing. Now, imagine from what height the baby will fall. Top karke the baby falls. Now, when the baby falls, the giraffe, what it does, it gives a kick. Now the baby must be thinking, एक तो मेरी मम्मी मुझे ऊपर से नीचे गिरा दी और बाद में लात भी मार रही है. Now when the baby gets up, again the giraffe gives a kick. Okay, it falls. Then again the giraffe gives a kick. Again the baby falls. So like this, the mother giraffe keeps on kicking the baby till the time the baby is able to get up and run as soon as it falls. Now, thinking about it, dear children, this is also one way of affection that is shown. When parents or when elders give some kind of correction, try to analyze that kind of affection through that correction that is given, though it may be difficult. Now, the baby giraffe may find it very difficult. Baby giraffe may think, "Arey, meri mummy kyun aisa kar rahi hai?" But the mother giraffe knows that in that environment, the only way of survival for the baby is to just run as soon as the baby falls. Okay, so it is training the baby for a better world, for a better life. Now this, when we can think about, this will help us to take corrections positively, right? Now that is going to enhance our performance. No, so not all corrections, not everything is negative, isn't it, children? There is meaning in when elders correct. Now, when we can think about it and when we can take it, definitely we are moving some percentage towards performance enhancement. A small tip: as soon as we wake up in the morning, when we can give some positive affirmations to ourselves. I'm positive, I'm calm, I'm happy. I'm positive, I'm calm, I'm happy. Because throughout the day we keep on thinking negative. Okay, मुझे ही सब चिल्लाते हैं, मुझे ही सब बोलते हैं, मुझसे ये नहीं होता है. This is the negative self-talk that keeps on happening in our mind. Now, if we can replace it with positive affirmations And when we can repeat these positive self-talk to us again and again, it becomes a part of our system. And definitely we are moving towards a positive environment. Yeah. So before I conclude, some beautiful words, okay, Swami's words. When you retire for the night, offer grateful homage to God for being with you all day. Now there is deep inner meaning in this line, dear children. There are so many things that we keep on complaining, okay, from morning till night. But let us remind ourselves that there are more things for which we can be grateful for. Now this gratitude is the secret of managing stress. Gratitude is the secret for enhancing our performance. Now this acts as a catalyst to manage stress as well as to enhance our performance. So dear children, when we are complaining about so many things that we don't have, let us start thinking about all the things that we have and all that we have been blessed with. Okay, so with these words, let us move on to the question answer session. If you have any questions, dear children, you can put it in the chat box, or sister can convey those questions to me. Or you can just unmute your mic and speak. Sister, if you can see the questions, you can just convey it to me. Children, just feel free to ask questions. Over and above this, if there are any questions and if you require my help as a counselor, okay, you can contact your guru, and through your Balvikas guru, we can speak ahead. Okay. For now, if there is anything in common, you can just put it on the chat box. Any question, any query, any doubt.
How to feel.
One second. How to feel? Okay. Now, how to feel motivated even after failing many times? Okay. Now, there are two kinds of motivation. Just give me a second. There are two kinds of motivation, dear children. One is intrinsic motivation. Okay. Motivation that comes from inside us. And the other is extrinsic motivation. Okay. Extrinsic motivation is what the others give us. No, you can do it. Come on, it's okay, you can do it. Now, intrinsic motivation is always present in us. Now, what I would say is turn inwards. Even after failing many times, you can still succeed if you can understand that intrinsic motivation which is working in all of us. Okay, definitely we need to look inside. Definitely we need to see that thing is something that we are not dependent on today. Children, we are all depending on things, on motivation from others. I mean, mummy motivate kiya kya, daddy motivate kiya kya, teacher motivate kiya kya, what this person is saying, what my friends are saying, this is what we are concerned about more. But if we can turn inwards and look at this strength that is present in us, okay, strength that is present in us, that is going to help us to rework on our failures and succeed. Definitely that will help, child. Somebody else is having a question. Okay, how to follow pattern of timetable? Okay, even after framing a timetable. Okay, now Swami says for any habit to set in, it takes 21 days. Okay, 21 times if we have to follow something. Okay, there without a break, we need to do it. Now we have made a timetable. First, second, third day kiya, fourth day nahi kiya. So fifth day we have to start from day 1, right? Now when we can keep this 21 days as a target, we have to get up early in the morning and say our prayers. 21 days, if I'm able to do that, it becomes a habit. Now when we can do that with our timetable, when we can do that with our work schedule that we are making, keep a target of 21 days. That will help you. Yeah. The next question. How can we deal with restlessness and overthinking? There is a very beautiful example of how they trap monkeys. How they trap monkeys in India. Okay, there is a pot, and inside which food is kept, and there is a small opening on top. The monkey comes. The monkey puts its hand into the pot. It catches hold of the food. Okay, and then when it catches hold of the food, it thinks that something is holding it from inside. But actually, if the monkey leaves the food, it can be free. But monkey खुद food को पकड़ लेता है और वो सोचता है कि कुछ तो उसको अंदर से पकड़ा है. Now overthinking is like this, child. We think, okay, and we think we are catching hold of this overthinking. Okay, सोचते हैं. We are thinking that is holding us, but actually we have to let it go. When we leave that overthinking, when we try to use our time and energy towards something better, that is when we are free. Overthinking is not catching hold of us, we are holding it. Restlessness is not holding us, we are holding on to restlessness. Okay, this is something that we have to take from here. When there is anxiety, when there is restlessness, it is not that which is holding us, but we are holding it. The moment we leave it, we become free. Okay. Any other question?
Please put in the chat box if there are any more questions. Because some of them are sending you directly. So
yeah, I am just checking. In case I have not answered any question, please message me, children. My phone number is also there. You can message me. I don't see any other question.
okay. So thank you, Sister Sathya, for this wonderful session where we also got an insight on various aspects, right from the positive aspect of stress, that is eustress, and the negative one, which is distress, and how with the help of what Swami has taught us, we can get a positive attitude right from using the power that you have told us, as well as giving importance to whatever Swami has told us, so that we are able to do both time management and stress management. Thank you so much, Saira.
Sairam, Sathya, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. And you broke it down into a very simple, very simple steps. You analyzed the whole concept so beautifully. So I think that is why there are not many questions. I think the children have understood, and we will share the video with all those who couldn't attend. So everybody will come to know more about what we have said. And I'm so thankful to you for taking time off and being with us today. Thank you so much, Saira.
Saira.
Navid, you can.
ॐ तत्सत् श्रीनारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरुदू सिद्धबुद्ध तु स्कन्दविनायक सविता पावक तु सविता पावक तु ब्रह्ममस्तु यशक्तितु येषु पिता प्रभुतु रुद्रविष्णुतु रामकृष्णतु रहीमतावतु रहीमतावतु वासुदेव को विश्वरूपतु चिदानन्द हरितु अद्वितीयतु अकालनिर्भय आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु
समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः